Hi there, Abdi. I go by Saedra, or Say if you'd prefer. I'm a small time streamer and artist of various niches from paleo art, fan art, not safe for work, and well, the subject of this video. Now, since I was young, I've had this unsatiable urge to create stories. And while these would be nothing more than, well, fanfiction, eventually I'd start on something original, and which would lead to me wanting to be an author. And for the last 20 years, I've nurtured this idea until it became the project it is today that I'm now doing a video about. I'd like to go over its origins a bit of backstory, and some of the concepts before I'd go over what I'd like to do with this series and channel. Now, hopefully, if you're not exactly a fan of fantasy, you can willer those parts, as this universe is very much sci-fi as it is more fantastical. Now, if you allow me to reminisce a wee bit, I can still remember the exact moments, the very origins of what this was entered my mind. I was at my grandma's, and we were watching that Looney Tunes spin-off, Doc Dodgers, on Cartoon Network. Now, as we were leaving, my mind went to a game I'd played 2 months previously, Star Wars The Clone Wars. Now, in that, you play as Anakin, and there's a couple of missions on the moon of Kashyyyk, in which he rides on the back of a creature called a Maru. A creature that very much resembles a theropod dinosaur, equipped with various blaster weapons common in Star Wars. And thus the idea for a setting where dinosaurs with perhaps human intelligence, who were used as sci-fi war mounts, was born. Now, in the beginning, this did take place in, well, our reality, and was a story of Earth children chosen by God to lead armies and fleets of dinosaurs against, well, the devil's own versions. Their chosen children, and in replace of dinosaurs, for them it was actually dragons. It has since evolved into a massive universe, spanning, well, that stretch millions of years. It's filled with various themes, includes quite a lot of races, both fantastical and alien. It includes various unintelligent but hopefully interesting species. It's planets and galaxies and various time arcs. With that said, it's probably smart to answer the most pertinent question: what is the Saedraverse? It's a massive world building project of mine, initially stemming from just wanting to write a novel or series of novels. But despite the name world building, it's really not limited to a single world or even bracket of time. It's a universe where practically anything can happen. Of course, within reason. It's a playground for my story ideas, characters I've made up, and among other things. Now, you may be wondering regarding the name, why Saedraverse? And the reason for that is it comes from the divine race of the universe, the Saedra. They're inspired by old beliefs of mine. It'd be rather obvious the god of Abrahamic beliefs, although in that case less monotheistic, more poly. And in the grand scheme of the whole universe, the whole backstory in that, they're the only ones that may claim to, one, be true rulers of anything, and two, being, well, the gods, if you will, just under a different name. So they, the Saedra, they can be considered physical gods, born to what are now mortal species. Parents, we'll explain that in a bit. Now, they don't have a true unique form. Instead, they'll usually stick to that they had at birth. Despite that, though, oh, look, an elf and a dwarf. They're actually the same species. They live out the first phase of their life, none the wiser of what they really are. And it's because of that it's hoped that they will have the willpower to do what the divine being that I term the goddess did not. More coming of that in a sec. However, the rule will not be immediately once they find out, oh hey, we're divine beings. See, they're part of a great plan inspired by the aforementioned goddess. Billions of years prior, she created all things on all life, and under her, everything was good. Sadly though, it didn't last. Eventually, the universe would be led into chaos and wars. There rose three groups. One who can be considered heretics. They ended up not liking some rules that the goddess had in place, and even questioned why should they worship her. It was a case of, well, what has she ever done for us? For me? And in response to those, a group who were very much overtaken by a sort of poisonous, righteous indignation, a more fundamentalist, in a way, or I suppose Inquisition, with the exception of the fact the goddess basically told them, yeah, please don't do that. Leave them alone. Do not harm them. But they went and fought anyway. The third and last group, well, they were the ones that remained truly loyal to the goddess. They worshipped her, and they didn't raise arms against anyone. Sadly though, because of the mindset of the two other groups, sort of, if you're not with me, against me, that group would end up massacred. Now the goddess, she was unable to bring herself to harm those warring her children. If you view it more like a parent who has this weird warped sense of love, in that, oh, they know what their child is doing is wrong, but they can't bring themselves to punish them due to the child not being happy. In the end, she basically chose to reset everything. The universe. And that which would require her suicide. And from then on, that would be known as the Athalasoch. But not before setting in motion the plan of the Saedra. Now there were those not affected by the Athalasoch, known as the Centurii. It was part of the third group, and to them she gifted the Vidrex. If you imagine that as a sort of living Bible or Quran, it would explain prophecies and some future events. It was kind of inspired by what I saw of Jedi holocrons or Sith holocrons in Star Wars, or the Elder Scrolls of the aforementioned series. For this reason, the Saedra could not simply rule from day one when the first one found out what they were. It kind of has to be shown to the universe that, oh, so you guys want a life free of pain, suffering, mourning, folks not being corrupt, a great many injustices, bigotry, terrible wars. Well, it can only really happen through, well, divine beings that cared. That'd be the only way for such a peaceful, dreamful existence. And the Saedra, they would spend millennia in darkness of space, living in their own world while hiding from everyone. This can take millennia, and they wait there, and at some points returning, each one, their length of time, and what they exactly do, being different from the last one. Now, focusing more on world building aspects now, without the goddess, the universe, it's in chaos. All the planets, they went back to the more primordial state, and life is non-existent. minus those of the Centurii. Now those that lived before, they get reincarnated, but it's a very slow process, taking millions of years for even cellular life to return. In that interim, life getting reincarnated mimics that of evolution for the vast majority of planets. However, reincarnation itself is slightly corrupted. Life forms, they may be placed out of time or even on wrong planets. This can result in planets with multiple sapient species, so how you get the whole fantasy world of elves, dwarves, and humans together, or weird ecosystems. So imagine creatures familiar to us living alongside creatures that are familiar to us in myth and fantasy, alongside creatures that are depicted in works like Star Wars or James Cameron's Avatar. Now, while that is the process for the life that came before, and seemingly most life, yet don't worry, there is evolution. It's just some places it's not a natural process. And in others, it's a little more small scale, basically just referred to as adaptation. But any such worlds where true evolution takes place, they're not safe from the corrupted reincarnation process. They can become under threat of foreign species. In a future video, we'll actually discuss the various categories of planets that's done by light. Going on to a more fantastical element now from talking about evolution, we're going to magic. A magic by another name. It's called the Alnu, and sadly, again, like the natural reincarnation process, it's chaotic in the now godless universe. Now, there are species that have a natural affinity for it, elves and fae, and in fact, all species, at least sapient, have the capacity to use it. But because of the chaotic state of the universe, it's not always wielded, viewed the same way. In fact, the Alnu can be heavily impacted by how the population of an area views it. So it's entirely possible for a star system to cut themselves off by believing it doesn't exist. And you just could view that as a case on Earth if it was meant to exist in my universe. Next, you go to where a whole galaxy believe that only a select few can actually use it, and even then, it's not like they have thousands upon thousands of powers. But then you go to another galaxy over, with a single planet. This population, they believe that everyone can use it as long as they learn, and the amount of powers they have is triple that of the aforementioned galaxy. Even affected is how the magic is done. Yeah, okay, it can be simple use of a mind, but there will be those who think, we can only do this if we have an item, or you have to actually say the spell out. It leads for interesting story ideas, such as you have one place that's high magic system, and the person that uses a soft magic system enters the picture. Those are just some of the concepts I like to play around with. Each one of those, however, there will be videos on them, as the videos could just take up as much time as this one. And if I was to discuss more concepts I had, it would just make this video longer, wouldn't it? I want to use this channel detailing further such concepts, also going on to various species, races, events in the universe, characters, and places, so from countries to whole planets to galaxies. So, if you are interested in learning maybe a wee bit more, check my Twitter, or even our Blue Sky. Links I'll put below. And all I can really say now is, thank you for making it to the end of this video. I think I've already made clear, but this has been a hyperfixation of mine for 20 years. It's nice to have finally a wee bit done to share more outside my artwork. I'd like to wish you all an amazing week. Cheery Andrasta.